Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. I'll rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Brian Christelli, board member.
Bernadette Bauer, board member.
Michael Smith, board member.
Kristen Smith, superintendent.
Amanda Stoops, student rep. Kyla Dinkey, student rep.
Mark Keating, staff. Rick Van, yes.
Lorianne Hanson, yes.
Kelly Alexander, guest.
Jeff Monroe, staff. Austin Mary, guest.
Jamie Bailey, board member.
Zachary Miller, guest. Chase Farrier, guest.
Dave Dunaway, guest.
Travis Fessig, yes.
Carolyn Girl, staff.
Jenny House. Yeah.
Zero staff.
Move to excuse Stephanie Smith, board member.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion made and second to excuse Stephanie. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Michael, for remembering. Approval of board meeting minutes for October 18th, 2023.
I'll make a motion for the approval of board meeting minutes for October 18th, 2023.
Second.
Been a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Jamie, can you make sure that we can hear your cast vote?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. That's a short agenda. Okay, discussion items number,
We have to do the consent agenda.
just a second here. I need my glasses, sorry. Consent agenda,
I move to approve the consent agenda.
yes.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now discussion items, data dashboard.
We generally do our student dashboard update, data analysis. I think I have it in the agenda. I'll go ahead and share my screen. On our current data right now, Eric is working through it, but we're having a issue with the data pool. So I decided to keep it on the agenda and say that we're going to present it at a future board meeting.
Zoom.
I know Zoom.
IT, that's an IT.
And we're having a application loading error. So right now, this is loading in all of our district-wide iReady assessment data. So we're gonna table this until the first board meeting in November, hoping that our data company kind of resolves the data dashboard, and then we'll give the comprehensive data presentation. So we're asking to table that presentation. I know motion needed.
Sure.
But I just thought I would show that we will have all student achievement data from our early assessment to show where our students are currently sitting in our March assessments, or our, sorry, our fall assessments.
Communications and comments, ETO. ESP. COPA. Admin. Any registered persons to be heard or public comment? Unfinished business. High cap program.
We are just seeking for the approval as part of our high cap grant, the approval of our high cap plan. The plan has been attached.
As discussed in the previous meeting.
As discussed in the previous meeting.
Mhm.
And students have to qualify for highly capable based upon assessment data. And then they are referred into the program. And we're just seeking approval of the high cap plan.
We'll move to approve the 2023-24 highly capable program.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Sorry.
Okay, the motion carries. New business, approval of the high school boys and girls basketball to attend Seaside, Oregon tournament, December 14th through 17th of 23. Mr. Clark, but I don't think he's here.
Mr.
this
Clark is
evening.
not here. He ended up traveling to Eatonville for last minute supervision for both volleyball and soccer. This again, basketball is traveling out of state per board policy. We're traveling out of state and also traveling overnight with students. We just are seeking approval on a standard trip to Seaside.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the high school boys and girls basketball to attend Seaside, Oregon tournament from December 14th to the 17th, 2023.
Second.
Been a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All vote, approved? No, no. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of high school wrestling to attend state tournament in Tacoma, February 15th through the 17th of 23.
Again, all state travel, we can't by board policy make the hotel reservations for our state travel until the board of travels overnight. We need our coaches to make sure they've submitted it. Our wrestling coaches program is, excited about the possibility to travel to state. So we are submitting our state wrestling overnight board approval so we can get those hotel reservations made.
I'll move to approve the high school wrestling to attend state wrestling tournament in Tacoma, Washington from February 15th through the 17th, 2023.
I'll second it.
There's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
So Chris, I just want clarification. So we can't even book the rooms without the travel. Because I mean, clearly the tournament's 3 months away.
Which is why,
And we won't even know if we have any wrestlers. Hopefully we have the whole team, but we don't know exactly what we'll have or how many rooms or.
that's right. So per our policy, we can't put money and allocate district allocation to stay overnight unless the board has pre-approved. So we need to make sure that the funding to stay overnight has been set and the trip has been approved.
Good.
So Mr. Clark has been doing an incredible job on actually getting these approvals in place. So then that way we're not staying well away from the Tacoma Dome and we actually have prime spots.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval to issue certified athletic trainer contracts to Matthew Crumley.
Should have been in a consent agenda, but we'll just go ahead and do it here. It's just the district was lucky to hire an athletic trainer. We actually have that within the CBA and identified language. We already approved the contract as far as our association, our athletics and activities association. We're just seeking approval to have contracted hours for our athletic trainer.
Can I ask a question real quick on this?
Absolutely.
How is the athletic trainer going to be spread across all of the sports?
Probably not across all of the sports. You have high injury sports that are gonna have preference to the athletic trainer's time. We only have X amount of time available that we had available in the current CBA and within the athletic budget. And then with increasing salaries, the remaining budget that's left over gets, increasingly smaller. So budget hasn't been cut, but salaries have gone up and it leaves less money to cover, leaves less money to, available. So we have to prioritize higher risk injuries, sports with high risk injuries.
Okay.
And I noticed that in the attachment to that, it was just a job posting.
Should be the hours. The posting is certifying the hours. We don't offer, we'll issue a contract following board approval. But what you're getting is how many hours that we've moved from positions that we have not been filling that have been existing within the budget. So in our athletics contract, we've had positions that haven't been filled for years that we're using to fill this training position.
And I assume this Matthew Crumley meets all the
Fully
criteria
certified.
set forth and.
Fully certified athletic trainer.
And Chris, this was posted correctly and,
Absolutely.
okay,
I think the question comes because usually we get a follow email with the.
Oh, yeah, I think it should have
Kinda
been the
like a little
posting
mini.
with the consent agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That's
because
the
it was
confusion.
new, it was submitted to our office in a unique way.
Okay.
Okay, like I said, I would have normally caught it if it came across the consent agenda, but Mr. Crumley was hired a while ago as actually a teacher. He's teaching our sports medicine class. We have a whole program. My wife was actually an athletic trainer. So generally what'll happen right now we're paying for out of the athletic association for AE contract. It's not uncommon, and this will be the direction of the district, that we'll begin marrying that with a work-based learning experience. So then part of that athletic training time will be paid out of an instructional period. Takes me back to the days when I was a teacher and I was a yearbook advisor. My wife was the athletic trainer and we never went home. Generally what'll happen is we'll be working towards a 7th hour class, which will be paid as instructional time to ensure that athletic training availability is there for all students after school. And that's teaching time. And then that's where your training interns will be working. So this is the proposal, like the plan and where we will go. We didn't currently have the course approved within the state, so it'll be a plan for next year, and that'll make it so we can distribute the athletic training time more freely among sports. But for the remainder of this year, it's just because it's paid through athletics, is targeting our most, injury prone sports.
I'll make a motion for the approval to issue certified athletic trainer contract to Matthew Crumley.
Second.
Sorry, you lost. Michael gets it. There's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Approval of capital projects designation, presenter, Mr. Monroe.
Yeah, so as you know, we failed the bond to create the second elementary school. We still have a need for classroom space. And so we are looking to install a portable over the summer. And so we just need to, I'm asking for approval so we can get that project started. That way we have enough time to get it done.
And there's approval to order or start.
To designate funds, so
Okay,
that project's to get a 2 classroom portable with bathrooms, hooked up, fire alarms, electrical, plumbing, intercom, all the stuff that it takes. I would budget around $400,000 for that. I'm asking for approval of that so we can start that process.
So I think what we're looking for is to have the funds designated for to give Mr. Monroe, Jeff, the ability to move forward with the bidding and purchase of a 2 classroom wet portable installed at the elementary school. We're currently using the stage and the multi-purpose room as a classroom, and we're also paying overages on classroom sizes. So we are beyond capacity at the elementary. This is why we ran the bond. With the failure of the bond now, we are kind of faced with no other option but to reallocate funds to make sure that we can make the purchase of it. And we're seeking $400,000 allocated towards making a purchase on this portable, so it is available for the beginning of school next year. This fund would come out of our district capital projects.
And that's it. In the capital projects, what's that balance at right now?
Lisa's closing the books right now. That is due to the state here in the next hour, which is why Lisa's not here. Sitting about just below $500,000.
Well, I make a motion for the approval of the capital projects designation. We clearly have to have a place to teach our students.
I'll second.
There's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Enrollment, Mr. Nesmith.
Which computer am I using? I don't know if I appreciate Eric enough until he's gone. We continue to grow. Our in-person basic education numbers are sitting at 1,581 in October, not including our transitional kindergarten, not including ALE, not including our open door school. So our between transitional kindergarten, open doors, that also adds in just shy of about another 100 students. So we are 1,581 students. I think when I was hired, there were 1,430. So, we were actually up another 18 students from the month of September. So I think each month we're growing more. 8th grade is bursting at the seams. We have 149 students in 8th grade. Normally you'll see a bump in 9th grade because that's when our McClary population comes over. So our 8th grade is at the same number of students our 9th grade is without McClary students coming over with them. So I think every class, Mark, that's pretty accurate in 8th grade, is we're paying overages. So we are full.
Is our 12th grade class, and that's every student enrolled in all types, or is this just the building?
That is going to be just building. That number generally will lower through as the year progresses. That is due to running students going into running start.
And are we closed on out of district
Yes.
enrollment at all of our schools or just some of our schools?
If we have room in a grade level, we'll take. So, but I don't think we've been taking many. So we've had some historic population students, but we're definitely, I mean, if we have room in a 3rd grade classroom, we'll take an out of district student to fill it, just to kind of make sure that we're balancing our budget and remaining fiscally responsible. But we're not taking out of district students in areas such as 8th grade where we are completely and totally beyond capacity.
I just wanted to ensure, since we're looking at adding a portable to elementary, and clearly our constituents, they're funding that. So
That's right.
I want to ensure that
That we're not
other districts, we're not supplementing other
buying
students.
a portable for students that are not living, that are not paying taxes. No, we're not buying a portable for students that currently live within Elma.
ninth grade class is huge.
Yeah.
Eighth grade.
Well, I
grade,
know, but I'm just
ninth
looking
grade
at,
is huge,
yeah,
too.
eighth grade is huge, but so is,
Oh, yeah, ninth grade,
so
yeah.
is ninth grade.
Yeah.
Ninth grade looks larger because that's when you also pull in your McClary
Okay,
students.
that makes
So when you think that eighth grade is about the exact same size without our McClary
McClary
students.
So yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's-
pulling next year's jump.
So eighth grade is 3 students smaller without our McClary population.
It's still 450 students from 7th to 9th. That's a lot of students.
We're
Or
growing.
8th to 10th, excuse me.
I think the high
I
school is
misspoke.
up about, Lisa's not here to double check me, so neither is Eric, because both are always double check. So now I'm gonna, the high school's up about 40 FTE from last year.
Okay, superintendent report.
Well, we've had a lot going on. We were actually asked, it's fully paid for. Chairman Bauer, Christy Kershaw, and myself to go to present in Indianapolis and actually work with a national group on building graduation student pathways on how we've been building post-secondary pathways for our students within Elma. And I don't know if you want to kind of add on to our experience that we had while we were in Indianapolis.
I think it's pretty amazing, the robust programs that these other states are implementing and getting kids interested in different trades and fields and opening the possibility of college and trades, and the ways that school boards and the state and federal level need to fund and open those policies to let students have a lot of agency over choice of what they do for their future. When you get to choose, you're much more apt to be successful in choosing the path you go down rather than just doing something because you're supposed to. So it's been, this last meeting in Indianapolis was, our brains hurt. I'm just gonna say our brains hurt. It was a lot of good stuff.
And it's great having, I think Washington STEM got the grant from this national group, and they paid for the entirety of the travel, hotel, food and everything. So having it funded to present and be on this national stage and designing and redesigning what high school needs to look like for students to improve what post-secondary education looks like. Currently, I think I didn't do our data report, but we'll do it next week. I think we sit about 18% lower than the state average on post-secondary going rate. And that includes apprenticeships and community college and university and technical and trade schools. So really being vested in closing that gap. I mean, I don't want to be below the state average anymore. I want to be leading the state and being a part of a national leadership team on how to close that gap. We are moving forward on the WA gap. We're the first in Grace Harbor County to do WA gap. So we're beginning our data sharing agreement. That means students who immediately apply get immediately accepted. So you don't have to do the full university college application anymore. It'll just take your actual transcript in that data sharing agreement. That begins this next week. We're having our first data share early next week. So we're excited to have that WA gap process in place. And now Elma students only need to indicate where they want to go for their post-secondary education, and their college applications are the data and everything. You only have to get a transcript. You don't have to do a transcript anymore, it just transfers for you. So that work begins. All of our dual credit and post-secondary
All right, you
participation
just for everybody, so the WAGAP is a Washington guaranteed
admissions
admissions
program.
program.
So the Washington Guaranteed Admissions Program. So now, normally when you apply for college, you had to do a official transcript. That official transcript, application, letters from counselors, all of that process is gone. You just indicate whether or not you want to go, and they will let you know within minutes if you're in. So that is done. So we are deeply committed to improving our post-secondary going rates here. We are now working with the national leadership team. Again, we already the only district in the area running apprenticeship programs, and now we're going to have a full university partnership program. So we're excited about the work we have in place.
Okay, student representative, we have Miss Mia and Kyla.
So we are moving forward on the open campus presentation. I was hoping to have it ready by this week, but after my meeting with Ms. Belden on Friday, either Thursday or Friday, we discussed a lot more options than what I had been planning. She brought some things to my attention that I had not thought of. It was supposed to be a meeting with Ms. Belden and Ms. Holm, but Ms. Holm was stuck at the middle school. But Ms. Belden brought to my attention that I should contact Monty and Aberdeen High School and get their policy and procedure on open campus, because they are both open campus. I talked to Montesino's, I think, assistant principal.
Mhm.
And the way they do it is they have a privilege form that the parents, students, and school all sign at the beginning of the year with registration forms. They have a meeting with the students at the beginning of the year to let them know if they are not allowed to and make them aware of what's happening. If they are in constant trouble, the privilege is taken away, and the way they regulate that is, they have, like, to regulate if the person is in trouble and ensure that they are not going out on campus, off campus when not supposed to. They have almost like a lunch detention, kind of like a classroom they have to sit in, or an area they have to sit in where they are monitored. I have not had a chance to call Aberdeen yet, but Mia said she might be able to stop in and get that information for me. I emailed Ms. Kershaw to have an Eagle Time assembly like we did when we got to know Ms. Gold and Ms. Belden, to get student perspective on it and get their notes and make them aware of what's happening. But Eagle Time is not available until after November 27th, so if I would still like to have that assembly during the school day, I will not be able to have the presentation up until after that. Speaking on that, I have a question on the school board meeting dates, because the calendar I was given was very confusing. I have one listed today. I think next week, I don't know, I can't see.
No.
this other thing.
November 8th.
November 8th is our next one,
So every second and fourth
so
Wednesday,
we don't have one on the 15th,
we do not. Correct,
but we will have one on the 20th.
correct.
And then following that, we would have one on December 6th.
No,
No.
we'll be December, we only have one meeting in December, so we split the difference. And that's you, that'll
Okay,
be December
13th, I think.
13th.
and I
13th.
think that might be the
13th.
earliest that I can give that presentation, given the dates that I have available for that assembly, unless I figure out a different way to have student input to get them aware of.
Would you like to have that to be a part of a work study session?
Yeah, so you might want to tell her what.
So we have, the first board meeting of the month is to kind of work through all of the issues. So then we do the business meeting, and then we do a work study session. So the last meeting was the implementation of the safety and security plan. So it could be the part of the December work study session.
Is that on the same date?
That's what it would be.
Kind of a nice roundtable, sit down and talk about it and
Still like your
get,
brainstorming.
yeah,
session.
just like a brainstorming
Yeah.
session, get perspective
Okay,
from all of us.
So we will, Jenny, write that down and make sure that we have our students scheduled for the work study session for the December board meeting.
Thank you.
Mark, I'm actually out of town. You're gonna be running that board meeting.
we are, Ms. Belden and I discussed that we hope to have this in place by second semester of high school, but only for the juniors and seniors at the time being, to kind of, like, almost as a trial run.
So what you need to know is, it would take a change in policy.
Mhm.
So there has to be 2 board meetings for a change in policy. So you drafted out the policy through the work study session. It wouldn't go for the first vote for the first January meeting. Then we go to the second vote at the second January meeting, and then procedures would need to be written and followed. So the soonest you would be able to have it in place would be at an expedited pace, probably as accurate, would be the second semester date. So you would draft your policy, work on a draft of the policy in the study session, that work study session.
Mhm.
Policy adoption, reading 1, first board meeting in January, reading 2, so that would be your fastest. So you gotta make sure you have 2, you're gonna have your study session to present. Then if there's buy-in, you have to have 2 more board meetings follow.
Okay,
That's good.
so,
You're on schedule.
You're
Yeah.
good.
okay,
It's your timeline you gave, yeah. it's
okay,
good.
okay.
Assuming
That was a
everything
lot of
goes.
big
well.
words.
If you need us to go through and write out a timeline for you, you can do that so that you can have in your own schedule what you need to set for your points, your dates that you need to hit or miss.
We have Jenny, when you talk to Candace, because I know she's at soccer tonight. We also have Candace kind of reach out and make sure that those deadlines are set. So that way that December board meeting, we'll do the work study session on an open campus conversation. And now also, just so you know, we can probably talk about a little bit, when we talk about the board policy process, just because it's kind of a point of clarification. But super deep on the actual policy change itself, we can't talk about because it would not follow what's called OPMA, Open Public Meetings Act. And we can't talk about anything that was not advertised on the agenda. Because it would mean that if somebody in the community wanted to know about an open campus conversation, we were having an open campus conversation now, somebody in the community wouldn't have known that conversation was happening to come in. So we will have we'll take the update and then we'll give you the information you need. And we'll have a fully advertised open campus conversation at the December board meeting. So that way people who are really vested in that conversation can be there. And it also keeps us in alignment with what's called OPMA, the Open Public Meetings Act. So we're legally compliant. So anybody who wanted to be a part of a conversation on an open campus could be here.
And those work studies happen during an open meeting also.
So we, by law, have to make sure everybody knows what we're talking about.
Okay. Am I still okay to keep going on?
Yeah.
Okay, so Ms. Belkin also talked to me. She said that when we had an open campus, I don't know how many years ago, there had been a lot of theft at the Shell and Texaco gas stations. So to further, I guess, have community support, I could talk to the managers, get their support and get their thoughts on it, see if they would support me in it, if they were willing to come to a meeting and just like listen to my full presentation. She also mentioned something about the parents. So her and I came up with the idea to send out a survey through the parent square thing. I sent her and Ms. Holm a copy of it. She added a couple things. We're waiting for Ms. Holm to look at it, I believe, and then they're going to send that out. It's only like 4 questions. Basically asking if they would support it. If their response was no, they would not support it, I was asking why so that I could address those points. If their student would use the opportunity to leave campus at lunch, the grade level of their students, and then any other questions, concerns, comments, those types of things. I have that all set up. I'm waiting for them to send it out and give me the okay. And then I think that's it.
Would you, back to your first point, would you like help connecting with the Elma Chamber of Commerce to maybe go to one of the Chamber of Commerce luncheons and ask, they represent businesses within the community, and ask kind of different business members of the community. They will generally allow kind of like it's not a whole presentation, but like, I'm seeking feedback and if you provide me this feedback. So there's a general at lunch presentation. The district is a member, and then you could we could arrange for you to go to the chamber meeting as a representative of the district to make your request. Okay.
So I have the dates attached
Thanks,
to
Jenny.
that. And that is all I have. Unless we have no comment.
I just wanted to clarify, are both of you young ladies able to go to the WASDA conference?
As far as I know, I let my drill coach know. She knows that I will not be there for the 16th practice.
Okay.
But I did have a couple of questions on it, if you guys are
Yes.
able to answer those. So the dates that I was told were the 16th through the 18th, but with the agenda that Candace sent out with the details that she has currently, the only date listed is the 16th from 9 to 2.
16th is a Thursday, yes?
Yeah, that's when the boot camp is from 9 to 2. It's on
Oh,
the 16th for the WASDA.
It generally
the
begins,
board
it's generally
reps?
Thursday,
I
Friday,
don't know about
Saturday.
that. I know, but my end on the 16th is from 9 to 2. There might be, but it's on here.
I know WASDA changed their I only learned this morning. WASDA had to change their conference app. So they did not advertise any agendas, and they've been moving over from, I only know this because we were asked to present. They've been moving over from the app called Hoova to Sched,
Oh, okay.
and they've had to rebuild out the entire Sched agenda, and they've been rebuilding it out just this week.
So we'll
So
make
it
that
might
a
be-
point.
It might be a partial agenda because of the app.
Let's try like by Tuesday this next week, we'll try to have that really completely nailed down to the dates.
And then is the school board
What's that?
providing
It's-
transportation, or do I need to get myself there?
So typically what we would do is we would all travel as a group together.
Is it, I guess we don't have the whole agenda, but is it usually an overnight?
Yes.
Okay,
Stay overnight in hotels, you're with the other student board reps.
Okay.
The district will arrange travel. Essentially, one of the things that we'll be working on this week is setting out to kind of ride up in the district vehicles to stay overnight.
we're making all this school group. Okay,
Does look like they have the full agenda.
Do we have it up now?
They do, yeah. So it's there to show you when we adjourn, oh, well, before that, but yeah.
well, because you guys right now have the executive session.
Yeah, I'll,
Yeah.
when we get, right before we go to executive, I'll show you.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Yeah, you're good for tonight on your reports?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure I got that for you. Okay, we will convene into an executive session that will take place for 45 minutes. We will be reviewing the criteria of evaluation for a public employee. There will be no action taken, and then we will come back to adjourn the regular public meeting.
Moving to executive session at that minute. Following.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's, this is from something. And we already covered.
Oh, next.
Those ones, yes, let me get these ones for you.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear us?
Oh, there you are now.
Yeah, you're gonna want to.
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that. Sorry.
Oh. There's been a motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.
Is there anybody?